Good morning. It's 5:04. It is Monday, the 7th of June. This is San Jose. And we're about to drive to New York. It's kind of dark right now, so I'll tell you more about what's going on in a minute. But other than that, please consider subscribing, leave your comments, and most importantly, I'm going to edit this with timestamps. So go into the descriptions and you can skip through all the crappy bits and get to the pieces you want. Whether that's the driving, whether that's the charging data, or the inherent rants that come out of my head. Have a great day and be safe. Let's go. So hi. I don't know if that's better. Well, good morning. As I often say as a dad, you just got to get out of the house and then we'll deal with it. So yeah, it is dark. It is 50 degrees outside. We have a full battery, and I mean full 100%. And today we're gonna drive to South Jordan in Utah. I forget how far it is now, but it's a fair distance. It's 800 miles and change, maybe just under. Obviously not only one go. So we're going to very quickly stop at, not quickly. First we're going to drive for an hour and 50 minutes or so up to Davis on I-80 and get Dutch Brothers, because this operation runs on coffee. We already have our Contigo cup of regular house coffee. We're going to get our Dutch Brothers. We're going to then continue, we're going to charge up somewhere in the Sacramento area, and then we're going to go to Tahoe and charge up there, and then we're going to pick up my good friend Nancy, who will be my wing person for this 3-day trip to Chicago and then on to New York. She's not joining us for the New York bit. You'll be pleased to know that co-pilot London will be joining us though, as well as Grandpa. Mommy will be with us in spirit. We're going to see Mommy in Chicago. Mommy's driving a van with some dogs in it, because ultimately we are going to the Westminster Dog Show. And that's what this has all been leading up to. So we're driving coast to coast, and then back again. So all good fun. So when I say somewhere in the Sacramento area, the way I'm running this trip, I want to pay homage to Kyle Connor of Out of Spec Motoring. And so we are doing this for maximum speed, which means efficiency. That means that we are putting no more charge than we need to get to the next charger. We will be charging and ripping. Yeah, we'll leave the lights on for now. We will be getting no more charge than is required to get to the next charger, with few exceptions. But I'm driving a Volkswagen ID.4 first edition, And I'm not using Tesla superchargers. I'm, for the most part, going to be using Electrify America. And these don't always have the greatest operational wonderfulness. See, I'm trying to find my nice words. So there are some risks to all this, and we could end up on the side of the road and having to get a tow for 130 miles to the next one that's working, or stuck charging on level 2 for anywhere between 2 and 8 hours at 25 to 30 miles per hour of charging. And so, but we're going to go forward on the basis that everything's right, but we're going to use as much intelligence as possible. So the Volkswagen ID.4 doesn't have a great built-in nav system that knows the status of chargers, that knows their location, and will build you the best profile. That's a Tesla trick. So what we do on the non-Tesla side of the house, he says getting out the HOV lane because he's not got his stickers on his car, and he's only one person this morning. What we are doing is down here, and I'll put a picture of this in. We're using good old-fashioned Waze for our navigation, so we know where the police officers are, so we can salute them as we drive by at the speed limit, as well as any accidents. I just find Waze to be the best SatNav solution. But then below that, we have my 2-screen phone, the LG Wing, which is running EVnotify on its bottom screen, which tells me that the battery right now has exactly 97.8% state of charge. And the GOM, that's the guessometer in front of the steering wheel, tells me I have 253 miles of range. And then I have another navigation app running on the big screen on my phone called A Better Route Planner. You heard that referred to as AR BP most of the time. And I urge you to go and look at their website, abetterrouteplanner.com. If you have an EV, it doesn't have to be an ID.4. If you've got a Tesla, this is a great tool for helping you work out your driving and charging strategy. It's got the driving dynamics and, crucially, the charging profiles of almost every EV, and it will optimize your route to minimize charging, maximize driving. And with that in mind, I know that I'm going to be put the car into D mode now that we're out of the city. Because I live on the top of a hill, I drive in B to recover energy very easily on the way down. We will now set the cruise control at something approximating the speed limit. And so today we will be making a stop in the Sacramento area, either South Sacramento or Folsom. That will be determined later. We will charge in Tahoe. That'll be the first of our longer charges, up to 30 minutes, because we need energy to go through Carson City, through the hills, through the Nevadas, and into Fernley on I-80. We'll charge at Fernley, then Winnemucca, Elko, Battle Mountain, possibly. That might just be a slash and dash, just so I can see the site, because we will be staying there on the way back. There's a 90% probability of that. God bless the BMWs of this world. I'm a BMW driver, so I'm not going to judge too much. Elko, West Wendover, then we'll cross the Salt Flats to Utah, to Salt Lake City, where we will do a quick charge at either the Electrify America or a free Chargepoint 125 kilowatt one that's further to the south, time and route will decide, because we just need to do a quick charge there to get our battery up, so that when we get into our hotel tonight, which does have 4 destination chargers, because we're leaving at 7 a.m, we need to make sure that we have put enough charge in the battery so that then it can finish filling it up for us overnight while we recharge our batteries. So it's going to be a long day. Lessons are going to be learned. We have any number of podcasts downloaded, playlists of albums that we've been meaning to listen to for some time. Whilst I'm technically on vacation, I am going to be calling a couple of my colleagues in Europe just to keep on top of things. And other than that, this is going to be interesting. I suggest you get to know us through the channel. Myself, Regular EV Dad, and my co-pilot London, who you've met before. Mrs. Regular EV will be making appearances over the next couple of weeks. And in terms of editing, I can't tell you how many videos this is going to be. There's going to be, 4 days of hard driving. It's going to be either 2 or 4 videos, and then we're going to do it again on the way back. But we're going to get as much of the data in here as possible. You'll see me superimpose the actual charging times and the amount of energy consumed, as well as periodic images from EVnotify and whatever, and a better route planner and whatever data I can share natively out of the app. But this is going to be fun. And if it's not fun, it's going to be an absolute death march. So, I will probably see you for coffee in an hour and some time, unless something truly amazing happens. You have a great day. miles in, but a couple of things worth mentioning, which I'll no doubt touch on again. So, I'm a fairly frequent contributor to the Volkswagen VW ID forums and associated Facebook groups. And if you've seen my videos, I hope you have, you'll see that I did some range testing with a Thule roof box on the car, and that reduced the effective range of the vehicle by some 26% over essentially a full battery discharge at highway speeds. Just so you know, and my thinking on this vehicle is that with neutral wind, crucial neutral, it doesn't happen often, but just not helping, not disadvantaging, air conditioning on, and a cruise control travel assist set at 72, I have found the 100 to 0 to be 250 miles or so, with that kind of consistent driving. Right now we're 48 miles into this journey, and we are getting 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. Now this surprises me for one reason, and why I mentioned the forum. I did the range test with the roof box on because Nancy is taking, we're going to have some company in the trunk. Will be one dog, I think that's called Mika. These are Slogies. We can have a conversation with her about her dogs. Dog people love to talk about their dogs. It's like vegans. How do you know that someone is one? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Pretty much the same with electrical vehicle owners and petrol heads. I mean, seriously, we all have our badges. Anyway, we're going to have 2 dogs in the back. My wife knew this, Mrs. Regular EV, was well aware of this, and was well aware of my thinking on taking the roof box because we have some real time issues here. I have to be in the Grays Lake, Illinois area on Wednesday night. Have to be. I'm helping her on Thursday. She requires my help. Not getting there is not an option. And then on Friday morning at dark 100, this journey will continue to New York City. So, knowing that, you know, a 25% dent in my range was going to make that journey substantially harder outbound, and by the way, homebound, really difficult because traditionally the wind is west to east. So going into headwinds with that would just, you know, have a serious effect. With that in mind, we agreed that Mrs. Regularly was very kind, and she took some of the heavier items, dog show related items that Nancy would require, and they were strapped to the RV cargo carrier and will be there. Sorry, beautiful Plymouth, old Plymouth, I think it's an old Plymouth on my right. I may love electric vehicles, but my heart pumps petrol. Unleaded as well. Unleaded, fully unleaded, no alcohol. Anyway, So the other day, my wonderful wife, the mother of my delightful daughter, the custodian of my green card, said that she would really like her bike on her road trip. I had, because we got this new cargo carrier, our old bike carrier would not work for her on this trip. And so I procured a new one which is bolted, multiple bolts, to the RV ladder. It arrived the day before she left. I fitted it, but I didn't have a chance to do a test fit with the bike. The morning of her departure, I took her and co-pilot London's substantially smaller bike down there, and I could not get the damn things on because the straps were just so tight and unmoving, and the diameter of the pipe, the rests, I'm going to call it, was such that this was not going to be safe to execute in the final minutes before she pulled out on a 4,500 mile journey. But in hindsight, she wasn't going to need a bike merch. Well, it would appear she's had time to think about this. So yesterday I worked with my good neighbor Michael. We cut half an inch off of my bike carrier that I would normally have used with the RV, and that's just because where the pinholes are on the ID.4, this was too, the insertion point was too long. So we trimmed that without material affecting its strength, and that's now secured in place, and there's an anti-rattle installed as well, which I hope works, because otherwise it'll drive me mad. And we now have Mrs. Regular EV's bike with us. This of course means that all the data that I had, it means absolutely nothing. And so it will be interesting to see the effect on our consumption, which is where I started this conversation, saying that now at 55 miles and we are producing or receiving 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. And in fact, just while we've been driving, since I left the house, like I said, I live on top of a hill, but that's now 50 odd miles away, with fairly consistent speeds, we are going to come in 3% higher than expected, or when we started, at Dutch Brothers. We're going to come in at 53% as opposed, well, that's different, so more than 5%, 53% as opposed to the 48% that was expected. So yeah, there's nothing like, a curveball just before, nothing like a curveball before you embark on such an adventure. But the purpose of marriage is to survive. I love my wife. Yes, dear. I may continue to practice that for the next couple of thousand miles. So we have some company on this journey. I would like to thank Mr. Lister, who not only won the giveaway for the Money Buddy cargo liner and declined the prize so that we could continue running it through June, But he sent me, as I get into the fast track lane, to go over Benicia Bridge. He sent me a Blue Beetle, which hopefully you should see in the time-lapse shot just at the bottom. In one of my videos I referenced that I called this thing the Blue Beetle. Now I just call it the Blue Beetle in EVnotify, that's its name, when it's reporting the data back to the Better Route Planner. But anyway, bless him, he sent me, he won a prize from me, and he sent me something. So I'm very, what a truly wonderful man. And he sent me a Blue Beetle. So I thought, what could be more apropos than for the Blue Beetle to ride in the Blue Beetle on this journey? And so the Blue Beetle's looking out onto I-80 right now. And then the most crucial passenger of all, I think, is Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean is a we call them stuffies, kids' toy, a lovey, I believe they're also called. Anyway, it's a manta ray toy that co-pilot London received from her wonderful Auntie Sherry, and she left it behind, and apparently has been quite inconsolable. So Jelly Bean is, I don't know how it got the name. I know there's a really good reason for it, but I don't know what it is. Jelly Bean is with us as well, and I'm sure Jelly Bean will make Jelly Bean got thrown in at the last minute last night. After everything was packed, it was thrown in. Wow, the view over the bay is simply fantastic this morning. Absolutely gorgeous. The sun's coming up. Sadly, we're going to be driving into it shortly, but it is absolutely beautiful out there. And we have, I'm going to be honest with you, this doesn't happen very often, but I believe we have the wind behind us on this leg. When driving the RV through this part, it's not nice. Quite often I'll take 580 and then 5 and hit Sacramento from the south to avoid the coastal bit. But anyway, so Miss London will, Blue Beetle's going to join us for this ride, and Jelly Bean, I'm sure will make an appearance later on. Be safe. One of the things that regular viewers may have noticed is different is you cannot see over my shoulder. And I'll go into this in more detail. If you go to my Twitter and Facebook feed, and regular EV Dad, there's some pictures. But actually the rear glass is covered with Mylar. That's the kind of foil that they put over people when they finish marathons. It's a heat insulator, and it's reflective as well. And I have it stuck to the inside of the windows to keep as much light and heat out of the vehicle when the dogs are to be. So earlier in the year, when I took my dog, Gambler, by the way, this may not make sense, but he has a video coming out on Wednesday with the pet protector system that's installed behind me. He very kindly tested it out for me. Such a good boy. But because we were traveling in a cool part of the year, we didn't bother. But this is actually a strategy I've used in the past in our transit when I've taken dogs in that. I've covered up the back windows with Mylar, and it's great at keeping the heat out and making the AC more effective. So we've done it again. I don't believe will cause an issue with the police because once we can't see through it, and I don't do it to these windows, and obviously I don't do it to the one I'm trying to look through 98% of the time. Alright, 4 miles until coffee. Well, we're plugged in. So 6 chargers here, and I'll do a quick site review on this separately. 6 chargers, 3 of them unavailable stroke out of order. I have seen the cars that people were talking about. These are the bolts that you can rent, complete with roof racks, with bike racks on them. I've seen them driving around the Bay Area, and I never knew that they were part of AAA. So anyway, I'll look into them because that might be useful for something else that I'm planning. I don't know if it's just a California thing, but we'll take a look. We have a slightly, doesn't make a huge difference in this situation. I'm intrigued to see how this is working with with the Better Route Planner, because it's monitoring the charge through the Notify app. So it is a bit slow. We are only charging at 64. We came in at 48%. And it's only charging at 65 kilowatts, which is behind the curve. It should be at least 100. Now, we're going to be here for 8 minutes. So it's not actually worth going through the whole rigmarole of unplugging and reversing, especially as I've got the bike rack on, which makes reversing in this thing a bit of a pain in the ass. One of those gig cars heading off on its day's adventures. So anyway, that's the situation. So we'll charge here for 7 minutes, and 7 more minutes, get 66%, and then we're off to Tahoe. Well, he says, pausing the music to not get a copyright violation. It's a we ended up overcharging just by 1 or 2% because a restroom was required and not found. But the situation was dealt with. Next stop, Tahoe. So we will we'll get under to 50. Whilst we're carrying a little bit more charge than we strictly need, we'll have some fun with that on this road. So we plan to pull into Tahoe on with, where is it? Not too much, let's put it that way. This should be some fun driving once we get out of Sacramento. We're going to go up into the hills. And elevation is going to be the thing here. We're going to go up 6,000 feet, something like that. My mind says it's a little bit more than that, but you know, I don't listen too much to my mind. It's full of junk. All right, enjoy the drive. We have 90 miles, as we are right now, we have 90 miles dead to the Bank of America South Lake Tahoe charger. We are going to go through, I was correct, we are going to
watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
6,500 feet of elevation. So it is going to be you know, that's going to have an effect, obviously. And then we will pull in with 11, well, we're meant to forecast current usage and predicted usage, predicted to pull in with 11%. So we're going to try and catch up a little bit of time. We want to come in at 3% if we can. We're going to have to be careful because we're going uphill, scrubbing off speed, going uphill, you know, a little bit of a risk there. But it is what it is. We're going to, you know, the efficiency of this thing is pretty amazing on hills. The bike is still there. We checked it was straps on at the stop. Yeah, this is where it becomes real. So next stop, South Tahoe. Then we'll pick up Nancy. We'll get Dutch Brothers number 2, and then we start in earnest with a zip back down in the Sierras to Fernley. We're bypassing Reno and taking the old 50, which the road I've now taken. So it's nice to. I've done 80 many times. It's nice to have a slight variance on it, and we'll see where this ends up. All right, onwards. Without seeing the police, hopefully. Now what's interesting now that and the lesson here is I put in a new camera system 2 days ago, which has 3 suction cups, and yeah, good, because one of them just gave out, which is why you jiggled and fell. So I thought let's just see what the VW navigation system has to suggest. Right now it says I'm not going to get there. I hope it's wrong. And actually wants me to turn around and travel back to Strawberry. There's a 50 kilowatt DC fast charger there. So we're just going past the Sierra right now. Sierra Ski Resort is closed, but yeah, let's hope this keeps working. Well, we're plugged in and charging and ramped up very quickly to 128. Got in with, I believe, 6% of charge. And we didn't really have anywhere to get rid of that excess energy, so that's a good thing. So yeah, we've been plugged in for 4 minutes. I had a personal matter I had to deal with. We are going to be charging here. Well, it said 30 minutes, but we're just going to take our guide. It's charging very quickly, and which I believe is expected, but we're going to just see, because I have a stop between here and Fernley where we'll be charging next. Currently, as I say this, it says if I left now, I would need 7% more battery to get to Fernley. But we have got so it's saying 7 minutes left to get to 33%, and then I think it wants us to go. We're going to put a little bit, just a teensy little bit more in, purely because while we are setting up the car for the rest of the trip, and I mean like the rest of the trip, we'll be running the AC, and that's not an issue. But while we're charging at 124 kilowatts, you know, which pretty much the current, hopefully the software upgrade will change that, we'll just let this go till it ramps down. It says, oh yeah, 5 minutes to charging complete. So yeah, this is gonna be quicker than I thought. Wow. So going by the numbers from Electrify America at Tahoe, came in at 8%, left with 43%, which is all we need to get to our next stop. I was only there for 14 and a half minutes, and I've actually overcharged. With a maximum charging speed, and I knew there was something strange going on, 146 kilowatt. This is interesting. Other people have reported this. It only happened for a very short period of time, very short, but the good news is we had EVnotify connected, so it's going to be in the log, so I'll try and find a way of publishing that. But yeah, this thing is charged so quick, I would have left, but I needed to pee. And when now, that actually gave me back some time. I was not expecting to pick up time on this little adventure, but it does that. And in addition, it gives us an interesting data point. So I'm not reporting consumption, but well, I tell you, I do it just for fun. So consumption is nuts because we were coming up the Sierras, and we still have to go down. So 221 miles with 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. But that included climbing through 7,000 feet and obviously dropping a little bit. But now we have a bigger drop to come, a little bit of a climb, and then a much bigger drop down into Nevada. So yeah, the charging curve is interesting. Let's see how. Be interesting to see how long that 146 kilowatt hours was actually active for. We'll see if we can get that from the log files. Let's. Oh, and here's the, you know, when people talk about the speed, here's the funny thing. I plan to just leave there, go to the Safeway gas station that's next door, and just wash my screen. Didn't do that. Would have slowed me down because of the queue for the gas that there is. Gas is a little bit cheaper here than in California. Although I thought we were still on the California side. Anyway, whatever. That's the current situation. It's 9:40 and we are pretty much on schedule. Let's see if we can keep this going. We have Luna and Nico, and their charge, Nancy, and we'll introduce you to Nancy shortly. Right now, for the Geek Squad, we're pulling out of Carson with 40% state of charge, and we're going to get to Fernley with 21%. We're going to, given the charging curve we had last time, obviously we're going to try and scrub some of that off. and maximize. And yeah. Oh, and whilst this channel is not sponsored by Dutch Brothers,
but it should be.
That's where it should be. That's where we're going next. Wow. So, we're here at the Fernley Walmart. Had a good drive in, no traffic, no problems. Not too fast, everyone's doing the speed limit, and it was just like wide open cop territory. Like there was just no opportunity to screw around. But that's fine. We have the dogs, we have Nancy, and so for those of you watching this and they're like, oh my god, I couldn't have an electric vehicle, I couldn't do a road trip across the country, you need to know this is real time now. So we pulled in, I plugged in, I showed Nancy how to do it, and I didn't repeat it, just showed her tap, dip, dip, dip. You've seen it on the video. I went to the men's room, I came back, Nancy walked her dogs, I came back, she went to the, I'm assuming, ladies' room.
Yes.
It's Nevada. And, not transsexual, it's undecided. And I'll get comments for that. Make sure they're funny. And we're ready to go. So, literally, I won't go into our peak. When I looked at it, it hit 130 and change. Again, I'll post this in a screenshot with the actual charging curve and the peak numbers. But yeah, we charged for, I don't know, because I wasn't paying attention, but we're leaving in 1 minute. So next stop, apparently we're going to bypass Winnemucca. We'll see what the wind says and speed and yada yada yada. But we're charged to 80%, higher than would do normally, but you know, most people would say if you can avoid Winnemucca, that's not a bad thing. And even now, it's not a bad thing, is it? No. Like, number one place to be killed and not found. I'm sure Winnemucca has good points. So charging complete, and we're going to go. Just so you know, for the geeks, 80%, and we're still pulling 64 and change. So, you know, the charging curve is just phenomenal. I'll be interesting to see if we hit another 145 again. I'll have to go in because charged, men's room, as usual, bladder before battery. All right. If I don't speak to you again, I'll see you we'll see you somewhere to the east. Well, just gone through 2 o'clock, and we're 94 miles away from Battle Mountain. And so, as it currently sits, we are going to persist in going to Battle Mountain. I've been watching in real time on a better route planner, which is connected to the Electrify network system. I assume they share an API. And so I've actually been watching people plugging in and plugging out, so I know that they are operational, or at least I'm hoping they're operational. And we are, I'm going to say, we're sort of 50 miles off having to make a final decision. But currently, and it's been consistent, saying we're going to be coming in between 5 and 4%.
Hazard reported ahead.
Occasionally, it's dropped down to 3%, but we've had a lot of single lane 55 mile an hour, which obviously reduced our consumption. So, you know, 4% is not a huge buffer over 180 miles, I think, originally, but it is what it is. Everyone will be ready for a break, but we'll make a final decision as we come in towards, you know, a go no go on Winnemucca at the time. There is a little change in elevation. And I have driven this a couple of times. I'm trying to think why we would go up and down 500 feet in elevation. Then if we go back to the journey to Klamath and Anderson, we learned the hard way, and not with a problem, thankfully, that those kind of things we can just avoid, much like the top that we just went around in the road. So we'll check in Winnemucca. Otherwise, we're just very boringly doing 70, but it's going to be quicker to hold 70 and go to Battle Mountain than it would be to do 85 into Winnemucca. We just wouldn't get the benefit with the on-off, as well as the increased consumption. So, consistency is boring, but effective. literally. We are we're 7.1 miles from the Colt Casino Charger, which we've seen people going in and out of the 350. I think one of the 150s has been out, but efficiency's been fantastic, and I've not really touched on this. Starting from scratch, let me go back to the data. We are at 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour, so still borderline, but maybe 6% loss of range in the with the bike rack, which really, compared to the roof box, was truly exceptional. So yeah, 478 will be 480 and change by the time we get in. But just really consistent delivery. We were ticked to get in with 4% of range. We're just going to put the hammer down for this last bit and burn off a bit of excess energy, and we'll make up for that with while we drink coffee and eat lunch. Probably a side video on that to come. But other than that, it's just delightfully boring and consistent. Who would have thunk it? We will we'll check in from Battle Mountain and see what we're going to do next. No drunk. So we're going so quickly that I didn't even have time to give you a heads up while we're in the charging station. And that's just how efficient these stops are. In fact, we need to slow down and spend more time. Bit of guidance, and there's a full review. They'll be in the charger review playlist, but here's what you need to know. Get coffee before you get to the charger. There is no good coffee. I'm drinking the Flying J coffee, and I'm sorry, Flying J, I love your coffee. I've gone across the country on it. This was not your coffee. This apparently is Boyd's coffee. Now I have no proof of this. I did not see a line between the urinal and the coffee machine, but I'm not saying there wasn't one. I don't think it's chemically going to change much between when it went in and when it's leaving me again. It's just bloody awful, but it is what it is. The charging curve was fantastic, and again, I'll pull the numbers and I'll share that in the system. But yeah, we were blasting. We came in at 129. I think I actually went to 135. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. In terms of stops, I mean, literally, I got out, plugged in, went to the men's room in the casino across the road, literally like 20 seconds walk, and then went and got the coffee, came back, my co-pilot went to the ladies' room, the dog got out and peed, and it said 1 minute to go, and that's it. Not only that, but I think and this is interesting. So we left at 60% state of charge, heading for Elko, which is 139 miles away. Sorry, 65 miles. Yeah, it massively overcharged us. And we're predicted to come in with 29 miles, a 29% battery. So we'll scrub some of that off. We do have a 1,500 feet, quite long climb. Climb takes place over about 10 miles, so that will have an outside effect. But then, and we're not going to recover. We're going to recover. We're going to recover 1,000 feet of that, but fairly quickly. So we won't get a sustained recharge off it. It is what it is. But we couldn't, as human beings, have got through that charger any quicker and got out. I mean, that is the limitation is bladders, not batteries. I think, you know, that may or may not be the title to this story. So we're now going to get the hammer down a little bit, because, you know, based on this, I'm expecting, and the reviews on PlugShare, the scores for Elko, I'm expecting a good charge. So we're going to put the hammer down now, and burn a couple of those irons off, and then Elko's where we're going to get very, very late lunch at some 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Kind of a screwy day. And whether or not we still get to Salt Lake before 10, not sure, but hopeful. Other than that, I just hope you're enjoying the time lapse and the scenery as much as we are, because this is just the right time to be here. There's still enough green in it to not make you want to kill yourself. If you do want to complain, that is what the comment section's for. See you now.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
So let's take a moment to talk about efficiency. Efficiency is putting in your Starbucks order so that you can go pick it up on your way to the charger. But if you do that, you got to remember to take your exit so you don't have to drive 2.5 miles out, 2.5 miles back, get your coffee, and then go to the charger. I'm not yo-yoing the battery. I'm going to drain it, but then we're going to charge faster. So, it's a win in the numbers. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. See you in a while. Elko. Really quick. I can't tell you it. I'm gonna have to put it in after the in the edit for really good reasons. We are ripping right now. I mean, literally charge and go, charge and go. And the charging is so much faster than predicted. So when I was looking at this in the planning stage, which I shared with a good number of you.
Sorry.
When you saw this in the planning videos, we were looking at 35, 40-minute charging intervals based on the data that ARB had in at the time. We've got the charging, we've got the rack on the back. We're doing 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. That's at 560 miles point. But the charging curve is not performing. It's doing better. We're doing 17-minute, 15-minute charges. So I will insert these into the video, and you'll see them here. To be so YouTube-y. But I may well do a separate video on just the charging curves. I know a lot of you would like that. If we can pull the data from EVnotify. This is going well. We are going, yeah, we lost a little bit of time at various points with traffic and things, but we're just going. So now it's foot down to Wendover. And I say foot down because there are clouds. Now, whilst we don't have a forecast of rain, we both, as we were just finishing the last minute of charge, the pressure's dropped. It has that feeling in the air. Obviously, we don't want to, we want to minimize that. That'll slow us down in two different ways. Yeah, the temperature's dropping. Actually, it's down to 82, which I know sounds warm, but this time of year in this location, that's falling. So about an hour and a few minutes, and we'll be in Wendover, and then we'll attempt to set the land speed record for a Blue Beetle across the salt flats. Stay with us. Well, West Wendover, and probably one of the most critical chargers to go in. One of the last Electrify America chargers to complete I-80 from California to Utah. Without this, it's a long way from Elko. A long way from Elko. And these new Signet units are great. The software on them, don't usually comment on these things, but really delivers. You can actually, it's real time showing you the ramp. It's quicker interleave, much to like. Right now we're at 56% and we're still charging at 90 kilowatts, 91 kilowatts. So that's phenomenal. Came in very late state of charge. Again, sorry I'm not saying these things, but we are literally ripping, and it'll all be in the full edit. This is going to be our longest charge, I think, today, 36 minutes. And again, this is because, and this is worth paying attention to, a better route planner is getting live information on the wind conditions, and the wind has, well, we've changed direction, and it's also the evening, which leads to higher winds as the temperature cools. And so we are now getting a significant crosswind. And I'm taking a screenshot right now, and this is an aide memoir. I think I got a blue line and a green line regarding the state of charge. I've got a feeling that, yeah, we're outperforming a better route planner's statistics. And I think that's what that is. All right, that's what the comments is for, and I'll also post on VW ID Talking on the Facebook channels to ask the question. But I think that's what we're seeing here. So we're at 60% and we've just dropped to 83 kilowatts, so it's still really going well. So this is going to be our longest charge today. We've got to go to 76, although it's saying that we're going to come in with 30% state of charge, which doesn't make sense, but it's wind, 11 mile an hour winds, cross and into, so that will have an effect. Be interesting to see what that effect is. And then I think we're going to see mostly daylight. It's 7:25 now. Obviously it's 8:25 about a quarter of a mile that way. Pardon my 1800s joke earlier. Our last charge is going to be not at the Electrify America in Salt Lake, just because it's more convenient for us, and we're going to go to the Utah Department of Transport license office, which has a free solar-powered 125 kilowatt charger with Chargepoint. I believe it's free. We're going to drive there because that is closer to our hotel for the night, and we're just going to charge to 30-something% there, and 30-odd% so that we get a full charge overnight off the 6.6 kilowatt at the hotel, who assure me that there are 4 empty chargers and they have room available for our dog, or dogs. So it's telling me 10 minutes to charge. I have shot this video, which is 4 minutes long. Both of us have been to the bathrooms. It really is that quick, people. This does not slow you down by any measurable amount. Time is money, and this ain't costing much. So we will see you in, well, probably crossing the salt flats, because I'm sure I'll have something to say. If not, see you in Salt Lake City. Yeah. Well, you may not, camera doesn't always capture this. It's, local time is 9:14 with the hour skip. Obviously the light is failing, although camera tends to show it as being incredibly bright outside, but we have the lights on and the LEDs are doing their job. They're bouncing off the tarmac ahead of us. I just thought, take a moment to reflect on what's been a long day before we get into the last hour. And that last hour is always the hardest on a drive like this. And it's not like we're going to be doing it 2 more times in the next 48 hours. But boring. That's the word of the day. Exceptionally boring. and in all the best possible ways. I'm sorry there hasn't been more drama. I'm sorry there hasn't been a will we make it moment. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, we got 3 more days for me, 2 more days for us of this, and there's no reason we can't have a screw up tomorrow on I-70. But Electrify America, I'm just going to say, well done. Seriously, unexpectedly, well done. This has been, unless you count backing into a unit that was out of order and was in a DOS screen, is a serious issue. Of course, we had this morning the first stop where half of the units were out of commission, but there were so many it was less of an issue. The charging has just been phenomenal. The infrastructure's worked. It's been quick. It's hard to believe that we've lost 18 minutes all day.
Well, we have kept a tight schedule.
We've kept a tight schedule, but seriously, from my point of view, I left the house at 5 a.m. I had the car loaded last night. Even the cameras were installed and plugged in. Just literally get in and go. Cup of coffee, go. On any road trip of what will be, by the time we get in, well, it'll be 16 hours for me, to lose only 20 minutes, and that includes, we had a lot of, I'm going to say 30 miles, minimum 30 miles of single track, 55 mile an hour single track through Nevada, post Winnemucca. It was a little bit before Winnemucca. Yeah, between Lovelock and Winnemucca, and then Elko, and then elsewhere. There was easily 30 to 60 miles, some variance there. So to only be 18 minutes behind schedule is just phenomenal, regardless of whatever's powering your motion, whether it's dinosaur juice or solar-derived ions. And the car's just performed beautifully, effortlessly. The seats are still comfortable, certainly for me, for you.
Definitely, and I'm loving that massage.
The massage, yeah, we're both fans of the massage. It's Audi. I think it's Audi standard. I was sat in an e-tron yesterday, and I have to say I think they're comparable. But seating position's not changed, but my ass isn't completely dead yet. We've charged. We took a stop out. We didn't stop at Winnemucca. That didn't seem to penalise us. Better Route Planner and EVnotify are the silent winners today. That's just proven to be exceptional. It's the real-time nature, the wind, car performance, the charging, the charge curve integration. Let's get to the bad. That functionality needs to exist in this 12-inch screen, like it does in a Tesla. That needs to happen, and to that point, I appreciate it's in the pipeline that the MEB platform is using the Android Automotive kernel. They need to not do that. They need to, as Volvo has done, as Polestar has done, just take it wholesale. You cannot, with your engineers, make something better than what thousands of engineers are doing. There is nothing of value if you're reskinning it. Making it look pretty does nothing. for resilience or functionality, for testing or performance. Doesn't do it. In fact, all you end up doing is creating sporks. Forks which require special permissions, requests, time. And it's not required. The minimum skin is all that's needed, if needed at all. They're doing all the UI testing, they access to the best features, just take it, use it, and then this functionality should be part of, and is potentially part of Google Maps. We already have a better route planner, which is not the best. I love the functionality, love the planning, love the delivery, love the tracking. But as a intuitive interface SatNav system, it sucks. Maybe it would be better on a bigger screen, but it certainly sucks in this environment. But you get this into Waze, the SOC, performance calibration, charging information into Waze and Google. Well, now you're taking on Tesla. Now you're taking on the people we don't talk about, Apple. It's coming. Elon Musk has created the biggest chunk of shareholder value in the Dow index, the S&P index, in the last 10 years. I don't know what Tesla's current valuation is. 50 billion? No. 50 billion? No. It has to be more than that. 100 billion? Whatever it is. Apple's opportunity for growth in software and hardware is limited by the fact that they've already dominated the handset market at the premium end. And going low doesn't produce margins. But as Tesla's demonstrated, if you can sell a $35,000 vehicle with a $10,000 piece of software, you've just created a 30% margin. Not only that, but you've created a renewable opportunity. And Apple can't say no to that. Not only that, Apple are the geniuses of hardware and software integration. That means that your commute, your road trip, is in an Apple device with an Apple interface with access to Apple services, tying you deeper and deeper into that ecosphere. That has immense value to you as a consumer, but also shareholder value. And there's no way Tim Cook is going to seize upon that. It's going to be, with the right partners, easier for them to create real value and revenue in automotive than it will through incremental growth in healthcare. You can only use so many iWatches as ECGs. You can only sell so many iPads to nurses. But a car with a degree of autonomy and access to music, video services, and content, well, that's a story that writes itself. So anyway, that's my final thoughts on this, hopefully on this evening. We're going to finish our, we have 44 miles to this charge point. And that's going to be the very fast charge just to bring us up to 30% to then drop off at the hotel. And then hopefully we will see you in the morning with 100% charge and a great drive through, down through Utah, down to I-70 at Green River, and then through Grand Junction, through the, what do they call it, the Monument Freeway, down into Colorado, and then up into Nebraska. It's, I say this, I hope tomorrow is as delightfully boring as today. Be safe. maybe just one more check-in to follow on this, but we're here at the Utah DOT site in Taylorsville. Currently just charging off of their level 3 complimentary, free of charge level 3 charger at 71 kilowatts. It's two DC fast chargers with a shared 125, and it's forced, i.e. you're never going to get just 125 on your own unless there's an error. We came in at very low state of charge, so if we were going to pull 100, we were going to pull 100. Interestingly, the one on the left hand actually refused to start. The cooler kicked in, and then nothing. But the one on the right, no issues at all. Started first time, and just a fantastic piece of infrastructure. It's a collaboration between the Utah Department of Transport, Blue Sky Energy, and Rocky Mountain Power. And I'm not sure whether it's a proof of concept or a collaboration with the local government services which exist in the building just off the side, but not just 2 DC fast chargers, but then 22 level 2 chargers off 11 charging heads, 6.6 kilowatts at each, not shared. And just a fantastic site. It claims, they produced the solar system that powers this is directly behind the unit. Some 738 solar panels, annually producing in excess of 345,000 kilowatt hours of energy. Truly fantastic. And whilst we're absolutely dog tired, and the dogs are human tired, this will be our last charge of the night. We're just bringing the pack up to 30%. It's quicker to do it down here than go through North Salt Lake City to the Electrify America site, and then have to drive back down, and then we'll turn in for the night. Be safe. Good evening from La Quinta, South Jordan. The chargers are empty, the bed is waiting, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.